Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm your host, Matt Sims, alongside Phil Sims, part of the Believe Sports Network. Brought to you by FanDuel. Big Phil, always a pleasure. We're going to do a little Giants recap, right, of the draft and kind of go through it, position and player, and kind of see where the focus was for this New York Giants football team. And then we're going to do a little quick breakdown, right, of the quarterbacks that were drafted and some of the ones that you liked, maybe some other guys where you're not sure where they went. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on some of these QBs. And where they went and why, right, in your opinion. But let's start with the Giants, right? We all know the first two picks there at number 5 and number 10. Much discussion, of course, because, hey, we didn't get Caleb Downs, this and that. Arguably two of the better linemen, right, on both sides of the football, and Arvell Reese being also a off-the-ball linebacker. But Arvell Reese, Francis Mauigoa, the Ohio State linebacker, and the Miami offensive tackle going in the first round to the New York Giants. Big guy. I mean, home run, right, in your eyes?
Home run, round the bases, baby. Yeah, I love all this talk. Oh, they could have got this guy, this guy. Well, what? Just give the Giants 20 draft picks and see if we get the ones, the fans and the media. Oh, they should have taken this guy. I had him rated.
Yeah.
Well, you don't even know football, so nobody cares where you got it rated.
Right.
So that's crap. Man, as I said to you last week, I'm so glad the damn draft's over. It's over. And I've lost. I don't even pay attention to anything right now. I'm actually watching some of these quarterbacks that are come out next year just because I'm curious to see what they look like. And
you're bored. You were doing so much draft analysis that you just can't help yourself but go back into the film room and keep watching stuff now, right? You're just in that mode.
Yeah, I got to tell you the truth. Arvell Reese, let's start with that.
Okay. All right.
I did go back and watch him.
Yeah.
And just quickly, and the great thing about this age of what we got, these computers, you can get anything on it. But, of course, it changed my mind because the Giants took him, so I had a different outlook.
Right.
And as I did it, I went, oh, man, this could be a superstar maybe, or this could be really special. Because without doubt, at linebacker, he was unbelievable at Ohio State.
Yeah.
He made the right read, the right steps everywhere. And then if he takes that athletic ability and the size, which, one thing I noticed about him, and I probably said this last time, his damn shoulders, I can't even do them on the film here. His shoulders are huge, and he's going to gain weight and become, a more physical player maybe.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see once they put him on the outside and he rushes the passer, how it looks early. I'm sure they'll give him a lot of reps during training camp and everything. But, yeah, Bailey, Arvell Reese, I think I was actually rooting for Bailey. But once they draft him, you look at him again, it changes some of your thoughts.
Yeah, and I think, again, just his ability to play off-the-ball linebacker just as well as the potential of the pass rushing ability for him. I think the point about just his frame and his size, right, being 6'4", 240, I mean, yeah, you could see that, he's not even at that mature age yet, right, where he really becomes an NFL pro, an NFL man in that sense. But overall, I think they got the better of the two linebackers from Ohio State. I think they got the best overall football player on Ohio State's defense. I know everyone was a big fan of Caleb Downs, but I just think Arvell Reese, with his attitude, how naturally is at the position and his overall skill set, I think it's a home run. There's no doubt about it. Talk to me about Francis Mauigoa.
Well,
big guy.
About Arvell Reese.
What?
They got him instead of the safety because he's going to make more plays there. The safety is not going to have he's not going to be able to adjust himself into the play as much as Arvell Reese is. So I think that's another reason. And the Giants, their draft, you know what? They like big people. I love it.
Well, that's part of it too, right? And Harbaugh getting into just we're going to get big and strong and overpower football teams.
Yeah. Well, the second one, big Francis Mauigoa.
Yeah.
I have to look to make sure I pronounce his name right. And, we laughed about this maybe in the kitchen the other day. I can't remember all this crap I talked. But I said, Matt, you could draft anybody on the Miami offensive line. They all have the right look, the size. They're all tough as hell. They're mean. And, Mauigoa, look, I think this is a home run too. Mm-hmm. Big time. God, I liked him coming out as I studied the offensive lineman. I really thought it was a great year for that, which the draft did show that. But, man, He's got it. He's got the size. He's got a rear end that's huge, which is I don't know. It's as Parcells would say. Never mind. I won't get into it
for a double picture. Yeah.
Yeah. No. You gotta. Well, whatever. But yeah. So that's really big. The one thing there are still some questions about the Giants' offensive line, but they've done a good job with it. Some of the guys came through last year, and Mauigoa now it's just going to be a great addition to a group, and we'll see where it plays out, what position he plays, and who's going to be the starting five for the New York Giants.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's going to add depth to that offensive line. That's great. And he's a proven guy. And listen, when they needed to run the football, right, they ran behind that guy. And his athleticism at tackle, at guard, I think is awesome. Colton Hood now, the corner out of Tennessee, and Malachi Fields, the next two off the board. Malachi Fields, the receiver from Notre Dame. And, again, kind of going into the theme, Colton Hood being 5'11", 190. Malachi Fields being 6'4", 220 at receiver. So adding speed and aggressiveness again, right, to just their overall team build here with these two draft picks. And really for the value for Colton Hood and where he was drafted, I think that's the biggest thing, right? He's a first-round graded corner in a lot of people's eyes coming out this year, and they were able to get him in the second round.
Yeah, I really like him. If you really just study him, he usually lines up against maybe the best wide receiver of the other team, but he's a zone player, really good at reading the quarterback and the routes that are going on. And then, big guy, he bump and run a lot, and he won those battles. And I watched him against all the good, when I'm watching guys that play in a big school, I watch teams that are comparable to them. That's how I can judge. I'm not going to see if they play such and such Division II team over here and they destroy him. Oh, look how great he is.
Right.
So really, really impressed with that. And Malachi Fields, I did not study him. Played at Notre Dame, but the first thing that comes out, I watched about 20 plays of his. His size is, I'm sure that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Now they got this, the great Mike Lombardi always said, get a basketball team. Well, now they got the really big wide receiver. He's the center. And I think he's over 6'4".
Yeah.
So I'm really anxious to see him in person. And I was supposed to go down later today to see the Giants, but they canceled me. That's a different story. Okay. But yeah, very good. Really happy with both of them too. Such a fan, agreeing with everything and all these guys, but it's hard not to.
Yeah, well, I mean, now, so for Colton Hood, like you're exactly right. Physical press corner, right, that does a good job of just kind of understanding the big scheme of everything, plays good in the 50-50 situations as well. So I think he's a great fit for the defense moving forward to add to that physicality on the outside of being able to reroute, get hands on people, an issue that the Giants have really had. So fulfilling a big need there at that position. Malachi Fields, the big body, and as Joe Shane said it, right, just kind of like that power forward type of receiver for them moving forward. So I think that's pretty exciting. Knowing that they have Isaiah Likely, now they have this big body around it, really should help out, I think, Malik Neighbors tremendously when he gets back healthy, right? Getting back acclimated in the game with these guys that can occupy space for him and some of those underneath routes. Moving forward now, right? So now we're going back to just let's be big, let's be strong. The next three picks in the 6th round, the 5th pick, the 11th pick, and the 12th pick in the 6th round, you have Bobby Jameson Travis, right? The Auburn defensive tackle. Let me give you his measurables real quick. 6'3", 330. Okay, moving on. J.C. Davis, the offensive tackle from Illinois, 6'4", 322. Jack Kelly, linebacker, BYU, 6'2", 240. And honestly, I was shocked when I kind of heard those because when you watch Jack Kelly on film, he's definitely a denser built linebacker, right, than what you typically see. And also a guy that did a little bit of everything for this BYU defense, where he played off-ball backer, also played near the line of scrimmage, and did a really good job of diagnosing plays and being physical. So added depth to a linebacker room that we were kind of wondering when Bobby Okereke was released, what direction they're headed in. But no surprises there. They went with big, strong, physical players with their next 3 picks.
Yeah, Kelly was not, Kelly looks like he'd fit in the Giant uniform right now. Perfect. BYU.
Yeah.
They got a lot of big dudes out there, as we know. And I think they play really, really good college football.
Right.
And Kelly was great. The Giants, of course, drafting 2 other guys. Davis just bigger, another tackle, so it's
Brett Bielema guy, right? So you got to think, okay, hey, like what are Illinois' practices like with Brett Bielema? Yeah, they're getting after it, right? You saw it in person.
Yeah, well, yeah, I didn't get to see him be that physical because it was the first game of the year. But the thing about, they played in a pro style offense.
Right.
So that's a big deal, I think, too. They know calls, whatever, who I got if they line up this way and all that.
Yeah.
So, Illinois, they had quite a few. I don't know how many guys they had drafted, but they had some players at a few positions that were really, really good players, and I expect them to be good pros.
Yeah, they did. They did have a bunch of solid football players. Gabe Yakus, of course, the defensive end, being one of the higher picked players for them, and a few safeties as well got drafted. Let's go now to the QBs, big guy, after we did our Giants breakdown, right, which was fantastic by you. Hey, we're getting big, we're getting strong, getting nasty in the trenches.
Hey, when in doubt, draft the big guy.
Draft the big guy. And that's exactly the protocol they followed. And, they clearly had an agenda to the football team. And I like that. And I like the fact, too, that it does seem like, yes, they're big, they're strong and all that. It does seem like they got a lot of players, too, that have a little bit of an attitude, right, and an edge to them, which is another thing that I think is really important, right, into building a really winning structure, winning formula for a football team.
Well, Matt, when they go to camp, they're going to have an edge because this guy that coaches, he coaches hard. And we know some of those guys over there. Everybody loves the defensive coordinator. And then you look in offense, you got Nagy, and then you got Greg Roman. So it's a lot. So,
yeah, it is.
They're going to be big and physical. I really think they're going to be creative in a way that's I think everything's going to match.
Right.
Run game, whatever, and they're going to, the offense and defense, the offense is going to try to throw the ball down the field every time the defense is, no. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to match. So I'm excited to see that.